want to hear now from a longtime Republican on the State of the Union. Arizona Senator John McCain joins us in the studio. Good to have you with us, sir, this morning.
Long time means old.
We went with long time. You were just listening as well as we were hearing from Valerie Jarrett. She talked about what we're going to hear from the president is about targeted investments to spur innovation, and then also the need for streamlining government.
Also
for
a little bit of blame it on Bush. You know.
I noticed that you perked up at that part. You enjoyed that part.
IOB.
But when we look at what the president will talk about in terms of investments, which we've already heard from your side of the aisle, in the mind of Republicans, investments equals stimulus and government spending. There are certain things that will need to be spent on. There are certain cuts that need to be made. How do you balance those two needs?
Well, look, the president admitted that it was a shellacking that they took in the last election. I had to campaign for re-election in the last election, and the message is clear. The message is clear that they want to stop the spending that's out of control, that have mortgaged our children's futures, $14 trillion debt. It's unimaginable, and the consequences of our failure to get spending under control will be a bankrupt America.
Do you completely eliminate all spending?
Of course not.
Beyond operating costs?
Of course not. But the budget has grown by some trillions of dollars since the size of government has doubled since 1999. The deficit has gone some $5 trillion up. The debt has gone up, increased some $5 trillion in the last several years. Look, there are so many things that we could really make significant cuts on. We have to convince the American people that we are serious because we have literally mortgaged our children's futures.
What are three specifics that you would like to see cut?
Agricultural subsidies would be one. There are cuts that can be made in some defense spending, although I hope those would be translated into savings, and across the board reductions in spending, no matter what it be. But agricultural subsidies is one of them, waste and mismanagement, Medicare fraud, but we also have to look at the entitlements. We have to sit down. The biggest areas and the two elephants in the room are called Social Security and Medicare. And we have to address them, and we have to reform them, and we're going to have to make painful changes.
And they will be painful. A lot of American people waiting to see what those changes will be. Let's talk a little bit about jobs, because we know the president is going to focus on jobs. Now that so many companies have learned to do more with less, how do you convince companies to hire? How does this president, or frankly any president in this situation, spur job growth when companies are turning profitable again and doing more with less?
Well, let's assure them they're not going to see another flood of regulations coming down from Washington. Let's cut when I campaigned for president, I said, let's cut the corporate tax rate from 35 to 25 and even lower. Let's keep the research and development tax credit. Let's give them incentives to invest and to hire, rather than create more government spending that has very temporary effects. Look, we just tried a stimulus package of $787 billion. The White House people said that maximum unemployment would be 8% and we would be on a road to recovery. We've seen this movie before on, quote, investment.
So there's going to need to be a lot of working together no matter what the solutions are.
Absolutely.
As we look at tonight, you've even started to make some jokes about where everybody's going to sit tonight. And it's become, it's a prom night for the State of the Union. Who's your date for the speech? It's a nice show of bipartisanship to sit by someone from the other party. But does that continue after you all leave the room, and how?
I think so, but the fundamental differences you're going to see outlined tonight. The president will call for more, quote, investment. We will call for reductions in spending, savings, efficiencies in government, and really attacking some of the fundamental problems that have led to this out-of-control budget, which, as I said, has mortgaged our children's futures. So, but we can be more civil. But let's not lose our passion. Some of my favorite debates were with a guy named Ted Kennedy, who had passion like I haven't seen before or since.
All right. Senator McCain, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.